Good evening.
Good evening.
Are we doing great tonight?
Yes.
Yes. We could do better.
Yes. Yes.
Sure?
Yes.
Wonderful. That's what I wanted to hear. Welcome, dear guests and Toastmasters. It's wonderful to see so many faces on a festive season. Thank you all for coming tonight. I have a question for y'all. How many of y'all feel y'all can make out alive in this life? Kindly raise your hands. How many of y'all believe y'all can make yourself, can you get yourself out of this life alive? I mean, what I mean is, how many of y'all feel y'all are living your life to the fullest potential? Wow, that's great. A lot of them are on endophem, which is good, by the way. If you guys can promise me to leave your apprehension, inhibition, your judgment and your opinions outside the door, I can guarantee you, you will have an eventful evening filled with a lot of knowledge and learning. With that, I request all you fine people to fasten your seatbelt, for we are going to go on a wonderful journey for the next few hours. I want to talk to you all about determination and perseverance tonight. It was the year 1883. An engineer by the name John Roebling had a vision. He wanted to build a bridge which connects New York and Brooklyn. The world ridiculed him at that idea. It was never done. All the engineers around the world ridiculed him. They asked him to let go of this insane idea. But John knew deep within his heart that it could be done. With a lot of conversation and persuasion, he was able to convince his son, Washington, who was a budding engineer, that it is a doable task and they could do it. Washington believed in his father's vision, and for the first time, father and son duo started working in plans. With great determination and perseverance, they got the plan going, they hired the crew, and the work started. Everything was going good for the first few months. Then a tragic accident took the life of John. In the due course, Washington fell ill to a mysterious disease which led him to be bedridden. He couldn't move his hands, he couldn't talk. The world ridiculed them. It's a crazy duo. We told them so. The demotivation and the persecution didn't deter Washington. He could move only one finger, and with that he decided to make the most of it, and he developed a code by which he started communicating to his wife. And the code was, he used to tap his wife's arm. He perfected the code to such an extent that he was able to tap his wife's arm with his one finger and convince her to get the engineers to meet him so that they could begin the construction of the bridge. It looked hilarious at that time, but he never gave up, for he believed in his father's vision, and as rightly so, the work began. For the next 13 years, he instructed the engineers by tapping his wife's arm. And my friends, today, the Brooklyn Bridge is a modern engineering marvel, for it is the first steel hanging bridge in the world. And even till today, it's a pleasure to drive down that bridge. This is a determination of one person which changed the course of history, right? We are seated here in this very club because of the determination, love, perseverance of one gentleman, Ralph C. Medley. His figure's on the banner out there. He started this movement in 1907. Oh, trust me, it was not an easy going. He had his own shares of ups and downs. It was not until 1924 that the Toastmaster movement could have its first permanent club. Even after his demise in 1965, his vision is being carried on by many Toastmasters such as you and I, and we are making great strides. For as of today, we have more than 345,000 active members spread across 142 countries in 16,000 clubs. Now, if you want to talk about gender diversity, don't look any further than Toastmasters, for we have 52% of members are women and 48% of members are men. Over the course of its existence, the Toastmasters have perfected the format of the meeting, wherein we have 3 sections to it: the prepared speech, a table topic speech session, and to conclude it is the general evaluation session. In the prepared speech session, the members are given the freedom to speak on the topic of their liking, but within the gamut of the communication guideline. In the table topic speech section, the table topic master will give an impromptu topics for the speaker to speak. You will get to hear more about it during the table topic session. To conclude the event, we have a general evaluation session, wherein the general evaluator will critique the speeches in terms of the manual guidelines. He shall also critique all the role takers to ensure they evolve into better leaders and orators. Dear guests and Toastmasters, it is my privilege to announce that the general evaluator for the day is a father of 3, a grandfather of 6. He adores his wife and believes she is his charm. He is a retired bureaucrat who believes in giving back to the society. His advice to all is, Toastmasters is a discipline. Invest in it to reap the benefits. I would request you all to put your hands together for Robinson D'Souza. You will hear more from him during the general evaluation speech. Tonight, he will be assisted by the awesome threesome tag team: the time manager, the hour counter, and the grammarian. The Toastmaster who will be performing the role of the grammarian is a person who likes to push her limits and surprise her own self. Toastmaster Soumya, kindly explain your role.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
As the grammarian, today I am responsible for introducing the word of the day. Today's word of the day is apprehension, meaning fear that something unpleasant or bad is going to happen. A good usage would be apprehensive about the consequences of texting while driving. I put my phone off while driving. I will be making a note of the people who are using the word of the day, the good usage and the not so good usage of the English language, and report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, Toastmaster Soumya. Thank you for the elaboration. The Toastmaster who will be assuming the role of an hour counter is a person who loves to read 5 books in one go. He is an immense bank of knowledge. Toastmaster Puneet, kindly explain your role.
With the freedom of speech, one should have the responsibility of ahs, ums, ers. So make sure your speech is flawless, has no vocal errors and no crutch words. I'll be taking note of all the ahs, ums, ers, so what, ands that we use as crutch words and vocal errors. I should report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Puneet. The Toastmaster who's assuming the role of a time manager is a person who's pursuing her masters with CFA. That needs a lot of study, and trust me, she's good at it. Toastmaster Isha, kindly elaborate on your role.
Good evening, everyone. As the timer, it's my duty to time and record the duration of entire meeting and its individual parts. For today's meetings, the speeches are 5 to 7 minutes in duration. At 6 minutes, I will show the green card. At 7 minutes, I will show the yellow card, and at 5 minutes, I will show the green card, 6 minutes yellow card, and 7 minutes red card. For table topics, the timings are 1.5 minutes, and I will show up the yellow card at 2 minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Without much ado, let's move on to the first section of this meeting, the prepared speech section. The first speech is CC1. It's from CC1 manual. This is called the icebreaker. Icebreaker. The reason being, this person is a new member to the team, and most of us do not know much about her. So what this CC1 intends to do is give the person a platform so that they can give us an insight about who they are. That way we could adjust our communication and our conversation with the person from the initial get-go. The evaluator of this speech is former VP Education. He is a man with $1 million smile. Toastmaster Ankit. Toastmaster Ankit, kindly you have the guideline. Do a big hand. Come on.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. As Hemanth said, the objective of the icebreaker is to introduce yourself in front of the audience and to discover the speaking skills you already have and skills that you need some attention on. Timer, please note, the time limit is 4 to 6 minutes. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster. This speaker who's going to give the CC1 is working as a HR in a French company based out of Bangalore. I don't want to give anything much into her, but she's going to do it herself. Kindly put your hands together for Neeta Shetty. Interesting speech, and we got to know you better. So I think we'll start it off from here. Thank you. The next speaker is giving his CC2 speech. And the evaluator of his speech is our past charismatic president, Toastmaster Cherian. Toastmaster Cherian, kindly read the guidelines. Abhay.
The speaker is attempting Project 2, which is about organizing your speech. And the objectives are: select an appropriate outline which allows listeners to easily follow and understand your speech. Make your message clear with supporting materials directly contributing to that message. Use appropriate transitions when moving from one idea to another. Create a strong opening and conclusion. Time 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you, Toastmaster Cherian. The speaker is an interesting person. He hates washing vessels and eating upma. But he doesn't realize that once he's married, he will start loving not only washing vessels but also clothes. And he will survive on upma. He got caught while copying in his maths test. And he is a avid technology buff who works for Robert Bosch. He is a very helpful and a cheerful person, always willing to extend his hand no matter who asks for it. It gives me great pleasure to call upon stage Abhay, and his speech is Think, Save and Eat. That was a thought-provoking speech, and hopefully we all will be more mindful when we serve ourselves food going forward so that we can make this world a better place. And now moving on to the next speech. This speaker is giving her CC2 speech, and the evaluator for this speech is Toastmaster Bosco. He will not be reading the guidelines because Toastmaster Cherian has already read that. This speaker thinks that everybody is not only beautiful, but they should also feel beautiful, right? So, and if you don't feel that way, she's going to change your perspective. Kindly put your hands together for Ritika. The next speaker is giving her CC3 speech. The person evaluating this is a Toastmaster who doesn't mince his words, who likes to travel and explore. He is our VP membership, Toastmaster Bruno. Toastmaster Bruno, kindly read out the guidelines.
Good evening. Project 3, get to the point. The objectives are: select a speech topic and determine its general and specific purpose. Organize the speech in a manner that best achieves these purposes. Ensure the beginning, body and the conclusion to reinforce the purpose. Project sincerity and conviction and control any nervousness you may feel. Strive not to use notes.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bruno. The Toastmaster who's going to give her CC3 speech is pretty cryptic in nature, but she doesn't divulge too much information about her. At this point, all I know about her is she is a member of Toastmasters Club and she's paid all her dues in full. Her speech topic for the day is just do it and do it now. Toastmaster Shweta. The next speaker is speaking out of the manual, and the person who's going to, or the Toastmaster who's going to evaluate her is a permanent, mesmerizing and energetic fixture of Bangalore Toastmasters. Any guess?
Well,
Sorry, I'm trying my best. So Melvin is going to evaluate a speech post the GE session, and the speaker just passed out of the speechcraft session. She is an IT professional, of course. She is from Assam and she adores her 5-year-old daughter. Her life revolves around her. And the topic of her speech is follow your bliss. And I call upon stage Madhurima. So now that our tummy is full, so can we have some attention back on the proceedings? With the conclusion of the phase 1, which is the prepared speech, we are transitioning into the second phase of this meeting, which is table topic speeches. The Toastmaster who's going to host this is a calm, composed person who smiles more and talks less. He is inclined towards technology and loves coding. It doesn't stop at that. He loves teaching. So you would hear more about him in the area of teaching as well as the days go by. It gives me great pleasure to call upon Toastmaster Karthik Sitaram. Thank you for the insightful and fun-filled table topic session. I hope you all enjoyed it.
Yes.
Thank you. So as we conclude the second phase of this evening, we are transitioning to the third phase, which is the general evaluation phase. I call upon Toastmaster Robinson. Robinson. Guests and dear Toastmasters, as we draw the curtains tonight, I want you to unfasten your seatbelt. We're going to land shortly. Hope you'll enjoy the evening and have a lot of takeaways and have a good weekend. And I want to appreciate and thank our President, Toastmaster Nathan, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you and take care.